Today we're going to be talking about moving to Florida. Will you agree with what the new residents are saying? Getting after that next. Hey everybody, my name's Craig Cunha. I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida. If you're looking for a channel to tell you a little bit more about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, this is the channel for you. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell to make sure you're notified every time. And if you want to start a quick property search, go to ournextfloridahome.com and get yourself set up for the search there. I'm getting calls from people every single day, and I just love it. And those folks that have particular questions or they're really getting close to needing some help, they're doing one thing that you need to do too. And that's call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. All right, so the first thing we do like every single week is give you a little bit of a market update. And once again, the numbers are showing that we have more than twice the number of homes leave the market as come on. It's a trend that's been going on for a very long time now. And what that's showing us is that there's just no stopping to this pent-up demand to get more housing here in our area, especially Southwest Florida. Now, the country as a whole has a lot of demand, but Florida is just still on fire. In fact, if you look at the latest report, 83% of the homes sold in November sold in less than 30 days. So that is how hot the market is. And that's a national number. So locally, it's probably there, if not higher. But the one thing I know is when I put this correlation together with the rental market, you'll quickly see that rentals are so very difficult to find. And these aren't even rentals in good or bad areas. This is just all rentals. I pulled it up on the MLS. There were literally 5 properties under $1,500. They're all condos. So unless you know you're going to be in a condo, a couple things you need to remember. HOAs, restrictions. So if you have a furry friend, the pet part might be really difficult to get over. Almost every condo association I know has some kind of pet restriction, if they even allow pets at all. Keep that in mind when you're setting yourself up. Apartments are in super high demand, and the prices will continue to be forced up as this trend continues. Now, the forecast for 2022 is just the same as 2021. I mean, the numbers, I think they're kind of laying back on them, but what they're saying right now is 3.5% on the interest rate is kind of where they're seeing things going. We're slightly below that right now. They're saying the appreciation could be somewhere in that 5% range, as high as 7%, and possibly even lower. But again, 5% I think is very conservative, especially here in Florida. Now remember, this report is done for national numbers' sake. And the projected number of sales of homes is going to be very similar to 2021, if not much higher. So if you are somebody considering a home purchase, and again, everybody's situation is different. You know, if you have to relocate out of your area, then it's much more important. If you don't, just keep in mind, you're selling high, you're buying high. Once again, it's going to be a wash. One thing to keep in mind with any kind of home purchase or situation, I had this come up at an inspection the other day, and I just want to remind everybody, if you're making a purchase, first of all, we go in the beginning very gung-ho about, yes, I'll do anything I need to do to get the house. But then once we're under contract, we start saying, oh no, I can't do that. I want all these things fixed. I want it. I paid top dollar. I want this to be a perfect house. Let's get real and know that there is no perfect house. Even new construction. I've had clients I bought new construction home. It's never perfect. There were so many things I would have changed or fixed, but that's not the way it works. So if you're just as eager on the front end getting into the house and wanting to do anything you can to get into it, keep that in mind when the inspection happens. Because, number one, inspectors are paid to find every small nuance and issue in the home. I'm talking about everything. Every little crack. They tap on the tiles to hear if they're hollow. They look for any cracks or irregularities. They put moisture meters up. There's all kinds of things that they're going to find. So this is where you sit down with your agent afterwards and decide what's worth going after. What are the important things? What are the expensive things? Those are the things you target. But all the smaller stuff, if it's not a safety hazard, consider having it dealt with after the fact. Most of us all have a vendor list that we can share that you'll be able to get these things done within a short period of time and for not a lot of money in most cases. But by all means, big expensive items, go after them, get the credits you can get, and consider what your offer was in the beginning. You might have given up a little bit, you might have paid a little higher, you might have even escalated past their asking price. Once again, that's what it took to get the home, but don't expect more on the back end. That's not the way it always happens. Okay, so now what are people saying once they become residents of Florida? Now there's things all over the board. You can read forums, left, right, over, under. You have to consider the sources. We don't know these people that we're seeing comments from, but there are some things that you do want to consider when you're moving to a warmer climate, especially if you're coming from the snow and in places that you're traditionally used to bundling up in layers. Well, it's not that much different in Florida. We go in layers throughout the year, obviously not in the summertime, but in those cooler months. Do not throw out your warm clothing. That is one of the top things that I see people saying. You're going to need a jacket at one time or another, whether it's even to visit back home or if it's just one of those cold nights we get here. Southwest Florida is less prone to really cold nights. We may see the 40s. It's been a long time since we saw the 30s, but 50s can be pretty regular. Now, if it's North Florida, you might as well keep your cold clothes from up north because they'll see the 30s with regularity. In any case, don't throw out all your warm clothes, sweats, sweatshirts, because you're probably going to want them. Now, you've heard all about bad drivers, and I've talked about bad drivers. You probably have friends that live here that talk about the bad driving. You'll see on the news about bad driving. It's true. Lots of bad driving here. And the other thing you're going to notice is our auto insurance is higher, but it fluctuates from city to city. Example, I used to have my insurance in Fort Myers on a condo I owned there. Well, when I switched it to Cape Coral, higher insurance rate. Apparently, Cape Coral has a higher incident of accidents, and therefore you do see that fluctuation. Population plays a part into it too. Cape Coral's population is now more than Fort Myers as well. So when you are considering your auto insurance, consider the city you're calling home and check those rates because that could make a difference in your monthly expenses. Now, one of the things that's going to be very hard to use this piece of advice because we're in a weird time, but northern furniture doesn't always fit in. It can be very large and the colors just don't match the schemes here. So many people are saying, no, don't bring the furniture. Number one, it's heavy, it's bulky, and if you're having movers bring it, it's going to cost you a boatload to do so, if you can find a mover, and if you can get your stuff back from the mover once you put it in his truck. Anyway, beside the point. We're having shortages on everything. So if you do not have furniture that you're coming down with, and you can't find it here, you might have to get some inflatable stuff or some beach chairs, and that's going to be your furniture until you can get it. Now, that is extreme, yes. There are furniture stores out there that will have some things, but if you're somebody that's very particular about the type of furniture you want, you may not find it. It may be back ordered. It might be 6 months before you get it, but carefully consider if you're going to bring that furniture because it may not fit in here. And once again, there can be a large expense associated with bringing it. One of the things that people did say that they might consider bringing is Christmas decorations, because whether you're north or south, Christmas is still going to have similar decorations. We just don't have the snow that goes under them. So keep those Christmas decorations, especially the ones that are very near and dear to you, because you may not be able to replace those items. And you don't want to reflect back on things that the memories that you left behind because you were trying to pare down the things you were moving. It's a couple extra boxes. Go ahead and bring them. Now I'm going to jump back real quick on the topic we talked about clothing and what to bring, because you're going to hear all those comments again all over Facebook and stuff like that. We do have major fluctuations in the temperatures. And when I say major fluctuations, the morning can start off in the low 50s and end in the mid 80s. Yes, that's a pretty big swing in temperature. That's why the layers are necessary, and that's why you do want to keep those clothes. This should go without saying, but if you have snow blowers, snow shovels, ice scrapers, any of those things, donate them, give them away, throw them away, or sell them, because you don't need them here. Since we're on this winter and Christmas thing, yes, Santa does come to Florida. And here's an example. We ran into him the other day. But let's talk about the Christmas decorations, because somebody asked on the on one of these forums about how to keep the Christmas lights up around your lanai. And again, the lanai is the screened caged-in area around a pool. It is a metal frame, but If you're going to do that, one of the recommendations was to use the Gorilla Glue double-sided tape to put it up. But you'll see the follow-up question was, is it okay to leave these lights up year-round? No, we don't do that. And I understand you want some ambient light in these areas. It's relaxing, it's nice. I get it. I love the lighting at Christmas as well. But there's all kinds of lighting options out there for outdoor living in Florida. So now that you're in Florida and enjoying Florida, get the lighting that we use, not Christmas lights. Another big thing that we've been seeing, and again, I understand that this is going to be standing out more as a localized thing, but it's really nationwide. Service is lacking. And I've seen some people do some pretty cruddy things because they feel like they were wronged by not getting the service they wanted. But we have to remember, if you're going out to dine right now, we have restricted staff in most every place you go. So it will take longer to get your food. You may have to stand at the door for a minute before the hostess seats you. There's going to be waits for everything. Do not penalize your server because of the fact this is happening. It's not their fault. Sometimes they're doing 2 and 3 jobs trying to cover the problem that they're having, the shortages they're having. So if you're somebody who likes to go out to eat and you're going to continue to do it, keep this in mind and do yourself a favor. Do not tip the minimum. Do not tip based upon how you think they should be paid, based upon the service you received. Give a nice solid tip so that the people that are already working there continue to work there and will be there when you come back for your next meal. Another thing you won't need here in Florida is your sun tanning bed. If you have a tanning bed up north, get rid of it, sell it. You're not going to need it. We do have tanning salons here, and we have spray tanning salons here. So if you're not somebody that likes the sun, you can get a spray tan, but there are tanning beds. The best thing you do is use our sun. We have 365 days of sun. Well, let's call it 350. There might be a couple cloudy days. But you can still get burned on a cloudy day. Keep that in mind as well. In any case, SPF sunblock is very important. You can adjust how strong of a sunblock you use to how much sun you want to get. So if you're somebody that still wants to get some sun, just not get roasted, lower that number. You'll still get yourself a little bit of sun. But I'm going to forewarn you, because it happens to everybody, if you decide to go without sunblock, you're going to do it 1 time, maybe 2. Heck, some of us are hard-headed and might have it happen a half dozen times. But you will burn yourself to a point that'll be painful to lay down at night, and you may want to think twice about wearing that sunblock here in Florida. Now, you've already heard me say that we have over 400 miles of canals here in Cape Coral, and that is the most in the world. That's true. There are 400 miles of canals, but only 222 of them, or I had another report say there was only 150 of them. There's about half of the canals that are saltwater Gulf access canals. And I can't get an exact number on this because I see it reported in many different ways. I'm going to put this map up. It'll show you. The dark blue is saltwater or Gulf access canals. The light blue is the freshwater. So you'll see it's very, very divided. It is almost 50-50 to saltwater and freshwater. So if you are somebody that's looking for true Gulf access, you're going to have half of those 400 canals to choose from. And you're going to cut that in half again because some of those commutes are going to be so far and so long to get out, you're not going to want to be that far up the channel. And you might end up in a situation like me, where you just go to a dry storage. I'm up at Burnstorm Marina. I have a slip up there. I just call it in. They drop my boat in the water, go out for the day. I bring it back. They spray it down and clean it and stick it back in the rack. Yes, there's a cost associated with it. So weigh out your expenses. If the canal access is not a must, look at that $200,000 to $300,000 you're going to pay extra to be on the Gulf access and weigh it against the storage charges. You may find that the storage is the way for you to go too. In any case, back on the uses of these types of canals. Freshwater, you can go as fast as you want. So if you have a jet ski, there really isn't a speed limit there. If you are on a Gulf access canal, it's a 5-mile-an-hour no-wake zone. And if you're within a 1/4 mile of the shoreline on the Caloosahatchee River, there's also a slow zone there for the manatees, for the seagrasses. The seagrasses are the manatees' food. If they are chopped up and damaged with your prop, it takes them a very long time to heal and come back. So we're basically destroying their food source every time you run into the shallows and chop up that grass. Keep that in mind. We're going slow. Now here in the area, we do have boating courses. If you're new to boating and want to get some instruction, both in classroom and real life, there's a place that you can go, americasboatingclub.org, and check out the different courses they have there. There's different ways to get yourself educated on the waterways, the safety elements, emergency situations, all the things that you want to know if you're going to become a boater, and you want to know these things before you get yourself in that situation. So check this out. I put the site down below, so go ahead and do yourself a favor, get to that link, check it out, see if there's something they might be able to do for you. Another thing about Florida is we are known for just many, many, many miles of beaches. And I'm going to tell you each of these beaches is a little bit different from the other one. You're either going to want some privacy or you're going to want the activity. And I've talked about this previously, but Fort Myers Beach is a little bit of a mix of both. Lots of activity, restaurants, live music, bars, all that stuff is there. Sanibel, not going to happen. That's all for just boating, sunbathing, hanging out, sports activities, that kind of stuff. And it's littered that way all up and down the beaches on both coasts. So you have to pick and choose which one's going to work best for you. But the other cool thing is if you get into boating, there's lots of little private beaches, lots of little islands you can't get to without a boat. So if you're looking for your own private piece of Florida and you have a boat, go check these out, man. They're everywhere. And it's just a lot of fun going out and searching out and adventuring out and finding these things. And once you start doing it, you're going to be hooked like all of us. I took my son out golfing for the first time the other day, and it made me think about one of the things that we talked about previously too. We all look for a place to park in the shade when we go to the store because we don't want to come out of the store just baking. Well, when you go golfing, if you have to wait behind the other groups of people, it's the same thing. You look for the trees, you look for the bushes, you look for anything that provides shade. You pull off, you wait there, then you roll up to the tee box. The other thing I noticed the other day that was a little bit troubling, but also humorous, is how excited these kids get to see Starbucks. These Starbucks patrons are getting younger and younger. And I'm trying to ask myself, why is that? But then my son's telling me, oh, they have cake pops and they have these sweet drinks. Oh yeah, Dad, you got to try it. No, that's okay, I'm good. But they've got these kids now hooked at such a young age, they've branded themselves in their brain. So now Starbucks is the first thing they're going to think of when they want some kind of a sweet treat as they become adults. All right, so those are some of the things that these Florida residents the new residents that are coming in, are saying about the area. I threw in a couple of my own observations just from this past week. And if you want more information about what it's like to live here in Florida, check out one of these other videos. And if you've got a question in particular you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.